diamond merchant staying here alone, and all around there are poor people who just need food and clothing. And this is this one diamond one. Whether these people have demand for this diamond, yes or no? What they need? It means this guy cannot be in business. If he is not in business, what will happen to him? A time will come when his stock of food grains will get over, and then his diamonds will be just like a piece of stone then. Because if there is no market, there is no economic value, it does not stand anywhere. Right? Yes or no? Yes. Okay. So what will happen? A day will come when this diamond merchant itself will convert into a poor person. If this diamond merchant wants to survive, what it should do? Because either he will get a poor person, converted himself into a poverty, or these people will lose patience and can attack him and take back his food grains. These two things are most promising which I can see. Yes or no? Yes. Yes, sir. बोलते हो दादी की कहानी थोड़ी मुझे पता है, थोड़ी पता है. ठीक है, this is that. Now tell me what this diamond merchant should do. If this diamond merchant wants to survive, what it should do? Move. अपने गोले से कहाँ जाओगे? आपने क्या बता के गया क्या कहाँ जा रहे हैं? Start trading with other guys. Yeah. Start trading with other guys. What I will do is that I will start paying small loans to them. Yes or no? If I start paying to them a small loans, what will happen? They will start from a small business, carpenter, handicrafts, pottery, whatever they can. And so what will happen? This all people will start earning some money, and maybe one of the guys becomes so rich that tomorrow it can buy the merchant of the diamonds. Okay, diamonds of the merchant, right? It means if this person is supplying some money, some loans, this all can survive. Plus, this guy will be secured, and tomorrow he can have market for himself. And the loan which he has given, he can also earn an interest. Now, why I am making all this story is that this was the scenario of the world after the Second World War. Before the Second World War, there were two powers. One was USSR and second was USA. And after the Second World War, it was just USA because this integration of USSR happened, and only one country remained, that is called Russia. And this was the country, the diamond merchant was the United States of America, and this was the rest of country totally devastated by the resources wasted in the Second World War. Okay, so you know, if there is just one diamond merchant, that is the United States of America, and all poorer countries are there wanting just bread and butter, and if these people would have not opened two institutions called United Nations for economic collaboration and political stability, and for economic upgradation, two institutions like IMF and World Bank, the same condition they would have faced what this diamond merchant was worrying about. So this is the diplomatic link which I am talking about, that why United Nations, IMF and World Bank got settled down. Okay, but this should be between you and me. हमारे आपस की बात है. Okay, but now I will be talking about the economic integration, economic philosophy which is going around in the world. Okay, but this was a small story, right? That's what I'm going to explain. This is the first story. Okay? भावनाओं पे जाओ, दिल पे मत लो. Was there any international body which is talking about international peace? Which was that? League of the Nations. I want one or two reasons why League of the Nations did not got qualification and did not got so much of popularity or stability or importance.
So westernized influence.
Yeah?
Western countries influence. I mean US and UK influence
in the
league. I mean they had more say.
See, history has always been a governance of what we see today. What has happened is that this particular United Nations has been made by which company or which country? United States. See, at the time after the Second World War, there was political crisis. Germany lost Hitler, Italy lost Mussolini. So there was a political debacle which was going on. So during that time, Roosevelt thought that we need a political integration, we need a political stability, and the concept of international peace came into the picture. And no wonder Mr. Roosevelt established United Nations with the integration that all particular countries come together and live in peace and harmony. This was the political agenda for the formation of United Nations. Okay. Now my question here, why I have put it United Nations is not because United Nations is there, it's good for peace and equality and things like that. My orientation is what is the benefit out of that to India. I want to focus on India in relation to United Nations. Okay? Now let's move ahead. You will have handout for it, you don't need to copy, okay? United Nations has different parts, yes or no? The first part we are talking about is General Assembly. What does General Assembly do? It talks about budget and then selection of non-permanent members. You know what are non-permanent members? Non-permanent members are those members who get elected for or selected for 2 years, 10 members. Okay? See, this is fine. The baseline of United Nations is mentioned in this organization only. One more thing.
They can interfere in the world's
any international crisis.
They have the power of veto. Countries.
See, this is only the organization. If it's saying something, it is binding on the member country. It is binding on the member country. It means whatever he says, the member country has to accept it. This is the veto power, what he mentioned. Fine. Now, why India should be more favorable and more demanding that I want to become permanent member? Why here? Why in this only? Why not in the other part?
China is
Yeah.
China is
No, it's not like that. I will deal with China also. China se bhi ladna hai aaj. After 1962 China war we can have today also. Okay. By the time you have been thinking, in 1962 China war, it has been a beautiful story. What happened? Our beloved Chachaji Pandit Nehru came from London and he was informed by the Defense Secretary that China is trying to attack us. He told us kuch nahi hai, and he went to Colombo. During that time, our Defense Minister was also not there, and the guy who was in charge of the battalion who was facing the Chinese regiment also ran away. Okay. And then what happened? Finally, one day the all Chinese force came inside Assam, till Assam, and the mainland was remaining Bihar. They were almost about to enter Bihar. Imagine what would happen in the northeastern state. Today when you go to sleep, you find Indian police standing. Tomorrow when you got up, you find Chinese police standing. They are confused, we are Indians, we are Chinese. This is all pad chuke the. Kabhi Britishers, kabhi Indians, kabhi Chinese, kabhi Japanese. So that was the scenario. Now, leave that. Come to this particular orientation. Why we want so much integrated? See, in the year 1956, fully wrapped up, gifted to us, to Pandit Nehru, that was, please take this, you are very much welcome to become the permanent member of United Nations Security Council. Okay? But what did Pandit Nehru say? What did he say? He told, we are not enough mature to have this, please gift it to our beloved neighbor which is called China. And it was transferred to China. And the beautiful response which China gave was in 1962. Thanks, here, take over. Okay, now further. See, remember, we people as Indians are working very hard, okay? And basically now we are the part of G4 nations. What's a group of 4 nations? These are those, developing nations which are demanding that we should try to regulate the United Nations Security Council. Now we have how many permanent members? 5. Can you name them please? US, UK, France. Okay, by your marketing I can find it out, it's crystal clear, you know it. Okay, now we are looking forward that we should increase the number of United Security Council members, and who should be the members for? Brazil, Germany, India and Japan. Well, I am not of the, I don't have a citizenship of that specific country, I am a citizen of India. And why, on which particular emphasis India can prescribe that, okay, I want the membership. You need to have something. Okay, we have gone to Mars. No wonder आपसे 500 बार honeymoon packages भी मिलेगा Mars के लिए. ठीक है? So we have, and what is the beauty of India's Mars mission? It is the cheapest. 450 crore. First attempt में successful. Okay, 4th in the world and first in the Asia. We are the 6th people who have gone into space also. Okay, and then if I read on my PPT, the first PPT, first is written most populous country of the world in the coming future. As per the census of 2011, our population stands to be 1.21 crore. Or 121 crore, you can call it 1.21 billion. Okay, so the hard work which we are doing day and night by increasing the population of our country, so okay, So we can claim that with the same kind of speed which we are working hard, we can become the largest populated country of the world. Thanks to the people born in between the 1970s and 1980s, they worked very hard. Okay. If I talk about the democracy, I have written it is the largest democracy, and I believe the kind of hard work it has to be more and more higher. Okay, you know the density of our country, density of population, it's like 382. But if I look at Central Delhi, I have to keep quiet. It's 31,000 people living per square kilometer. Okay, fine. If you talk about army, and everything is linked to the beautiful process of population. Our army is fourth largest. Our army is, at least you can read it. You're not sleeping, right? एक तो कुछ बोलना पड़ता है देखने के लिए आप सो रहे हो कि नहीं. And see, yes, what was talking about, always United Nations needs some peacekeeping forces it needs. So we have been the third largest country in providing troops for benefiting peace and establishing peace and security. What is the basic function of particularly UN, United Nations, to have peace? And for that we are the largest country, third largest country who will be providing troops. So don't you think all these particular parameters, going into space, technological development, good population, better amount of army, increasing GDP growth rate, this all makes us competent enough that we should also be the part of permanent member of United Nations Security Council. Okay, so this was what is important for you to know in the United Nations.
Because of the diet.
Okay, so we are crying, but we are not getting it. Okay, fine. This is an important one. Do you all know about World Trade Organization? Any idea about World WTO? I understand audio and video is going on, but still you can answer in that behalf. What is WTO? Sir, English के तीन alphabet है. Apart from that, World Trade Organization. The places where you sell stock is called stock market. The places where you sell vegetables is called mandi. And the places where you sell government securities are called gilt edge market, right? So, World Trade Organization is an international platform where the international producer and the international sellers are meeting. See, even before I go into WTO, let's understand there was one institution even before the WTO came into picture. That was and so there was an institution called General Agreement Trade and Tariffs. Now that particular organization stopped and you had a new organization called WTO. What was that particular vacuum which led us to form from GATT or evolve from GATT and went to WTO? What was that?
GATT was a mere agreement, whereas this is an organization to solve all the disputes regarding the trade.
So that was just mere agreement and this is organization.
Yes, it's government decided it is binding on the member countries.
And GATT was?
It was just a mere agreement you could abide by or it or not.
Not so much confusing. I need a concrete answer. See, GATT was only bothered about the trade. GATT was only bothered about the trade, and that ought to trade in what? Goods. Basically, goods. But you know, intellectual property rights, you know. In this whole hall, there is one intellectual person. Who is he? God se dekho. And if I am introducing something, this is my property. Yes or no? So, if I talk about services, if I talk about exporting of intellectual property rights, these were not the propagandas in the GATT. These were not the propaganda of the GATT. So, we needed a new kind of orientation which talk about not only trade in goods, but trade about services, trade about intellectual properties, and that is why we felt a need that we to install an international platform which is called WTO. No wonder on January 1, we established this organization called WTO. Now, we again had a fight with WTO. Can you tell me what is the fight between India and WTO?
WTO was asking India to scrap the subsidies that we provide
Yes.
for food. And even India was against it because our economy, we need to provide subsidies.
Okay, he's absolutely correct that, you know, we were talking about some subsidies and India opposed and WTO was also not in favor. So there was some brushing happening. Exactly, if I move step ahead, what more? If I go in further deep?
India, it had like very high rate of like export-import duties because initially India was not open to trade. So WTO asked India that you have to get slow down the import duties and all
The
that.
vegetables that India exports in the market are very cheap because of the subsidies that we provide compared to other countries. That gives us a competitive edge over other countries only because the government is financing the subsidies.
See, if I focus on my current budget, there are 2-3 programs which I should mention even for telling what is the crisis here. Our Narendra Modi, wherever he is going, whether he is going to China or whether he is going to Japan or whether he is going to United States of America, he is talking about one campaign, Swachh Bharat, and he is talking about another thing which is calling is Make in India. Okay. I fail to understand whether he is the Prime Minister of India or the Foreign Minister of India, because since he has become the Prime Minister of India, he is not really staying in India. एक दिल पे बात आती है, घर आजा परदेसी तेरा देश बुलाएगा. You know what? BJP formed the government because it was talking that I will bring back the black money. Now we are saying Prime Minister black money मतलब खुद ही आ जाओ. See, my point is here is that if I am talking about Make in India or if I am talking about Digital India, I am trying to send a strong message about the international campaign which our Prime Minister is doing so that we can have more and more FDI. We should have more and more people to come and invest and manufacture in India. Because, if I am talking about trade, it has lots of hassles. I will tell you 2 of the stories. India is a very huge exporter of Alfonso mangoes. And we have been exporting in a great amount Alfonso mangoes to the United States of America. Now, America is just like our elder brother and sister. If you do not work here, they will take out the residence somewhere else. So what happened? Alfonso mangoes were there and the United States of America told, we will not take your Alfonso mangoes because it has used lots of pesticide in order to increase the production. You tell me, we use pesticide on orchards or in agriculture? But somehow, India took 2 years of international audit forensic lab test to prove that we are not using any pesticides in our Alfonso mangoes. We restart importing mangoes from us. But do you think what happened in that 2 years? The people who are manufacturing or people who are producing mangoes felt heavy losses. Take the second case. In the second case, what happened? We were also very famous for exporting Kashmiri carpets. You all know? Okay? Kashmiri carpets is very much famous. So what happened? During that time, USA again thrown upon put a jargon was that you people are using child labor to produce Kashmiri carpet. And what is the child labor definition according to United Nations? Any guy below the age of 14 involved in manufacturing sector of any sort is called a child labor. As mentioned in Article 21A of Fundamental Rights of Indian Constitution, that every child should have free and compulsory education in the age category of 16 to 14 years of age. Fine. Again, India took 2 years or 3 years to prove that no, we are not using a single child labor to produce Kashmiri carpet. So somewhere down the line, the trade process is so obligatory, is so much resemblance to the host country. We are doing so much that somewhere down the line, the profitability and the kind of risk we have is not fruitful. Okay. No wonder what India is trying to propagate in this year's budget. What is the best way to earn a foreign exchange? Right. It's nothing but the tourism. And the CM of Gujarat, who has become the PM of Gujarat, has been opening all things in Gujarat. So no wonder the statue of Sardar Patel is being made in Gujarat, Ahmedabad, Narmada river ke paas mein. And what is the height of the statue? 240 meter, 200 crore from Indian budget and 1800 crore from Gujarat government budget. So 2000 crore budget will be made. Okay? And fine. So let's talk about the WTO. WTO has some subsidy boxes. Understand, there is 3 boxes. One is green box, blue box and amber box. The color itself mentions the boxes. Green boxes are those subsidies with which WTO does not have any problem. Give as much as you want, there is absolutely no problem. And what are the causes for which you give green box subsidies? Like suppose there can be drought, okay, there can be some irrigational problems, okay, or some loans to the farmers. That is absolutely fine because it's hardly matching anything related to the production of the food grains, okay. So WTO does not have absolutely no problem with the green. Blue subsidies, we are not there. We are not a part of blue subsidies in India. But what is the point of concentration of financial is here is the amber box. Why? Because in amber box is such a subsidy which is provided by the country to their farmers, like seed subsidy, fertilizer subsidy. If you are giving seed subsidy, fertilizer subsidy, what will happen? The cost of production of the food grain will decrease because the farmer who is getting free of seed from his government will not add the cost of seed to the final sale product. Yes or no? So what will happen in the international market, the price of your rice in comparison to China rice or USA rice will be much lesser, and that is why WTO is not wanting developing countries to give what? Subsidies. Now the problem is that the subsidy which has been decided by the WTO is based on old data. Just see here. See, this data is of which year? 1986 and 88. This percentage which is mentioned, it is the mentioning of the agriculture product value. For example, if your production is this much, 5% of your production value you can give in developed country as subsidies. And in developing country, how much you can give? 10%. You tell me, in India, what is the basic reasons for providing subsidies? In India, what is the basic reason for providing subsidies? You know, in India, to join army is not patriotism. In India, to join army is a way of earning employment. How many of you have seen that people are saying, मैं तो देशभक्ति के लिए जा रहा हूँ, देशभक्ति के लिए आग लगा दूंगा, ये कर दूंगा, कुछ भी हो जाए मैं खड़ा रहूँगा? No. It is 50% of the people are looking for an employment. It's a very good way of employment. Military. If you remove military, see the kind of unemployment and anarchy is there in the Indian economy. Fine. So now you tell me why, as India is providing subsidies under a mail box. See, our focus is not to increase our international production and gain trade and earn money. See, we are talking about food security bill. We are talking about BPL families. We are talking about minimum support prices. We are doing that so that all the people of India can have at least 2 bread and butter. They can have their lunch and they can have dinner. That is the basic propaganda why we are doing ML prices. If you are having Food Security Bill Act of 2013, don't you think it is a prerogative of the government to provide food for all? Then there is no substance, no hold of water in the act if the people, 50% of the people are dying because of hunger in India. Our cases are so bad that some of the sub-Saharan countries, African countries are far more better in the HDI index. Okay, our HDI index is not so good. We are always there on the bottom line, last se 20 saal. If you have any doubt regarding the HDI index, regarding the any development index, see the last country -20, we are there. 100, 200, 300, -20, we are there. Okay. If you know the calculation of mathematics, -20, -25, we have to be there. But if you talk about corruption, mind it from top third. Okay. So remember, if I am talking about WTO, WTO is prescribing that only 10% and the budget is how much? 1986 to 88. Now you tell me the main problem with WTO is that we are not considering the inflation rate. Mind it, India is what? India is a developing country. And in developing country, to have a creeping inflation is a natural corollary to happen. How so? I will show you. See, anybody can see a board? Can you see it?
Just keep it like that.
That's like that. Oh, can you see it? इतना सन्नाटा क्यों भाई?
बोर्ड पे कौन?
दिख रहा है ना? शोले का चाचा तो नहीं कहीं कोई? Just fine?
ये स्टेज का लाइट बंद करो.
कोई बात नहीं. लाइनें तो दिख रही है ना तो जो खींची है.
लाइट्स ऑफ कर दो ना. एक बार ट्राई करो. और उस पे बोर्ड पे सिर्फ बोर्ड पे फोकस करो.
एक लाइट चला दीजिए इसकी ओर.
अरे वो तो उधर.
इधर की. It's fine. Let me have the carpenter technology here. Can you see now?
Yes.
See this particular graph is for BPL families, okay? This is double is for BPL families. This is for middle class, okay? This is for higher middle class, okay? And there you have Dhirubhai Ambani. I cannot think so. Literally, I cannot think. Now, what happened? In a developing economy, people get more of opportunity to earn. People get more opportunity to get employment. So what will happen? The purchasing power of people will increase. So if there are 100 higher middle class, there are 200 middle class, and there are 500 people families in developing economy, suddenly what will happen? You can see 300 middle class, 200 higher middle class, and the decreasing of just 300 here in the bigger families. It means people are getting more opportunity to work, people are getting more opportunity to upgrade themselves, and how? Because of the social sector scheme of the government, like MG Narega, okay, and then the social empowerment like Mid-Day Meal Scheme, Sarv Shiksha Abhiyan. Through that, what is happening? Your individual people are upgrading themselves, providing job opportunities, getting job opportunities. So this is what is happening when your population is getting increased. If that is the case, if my people are growing and their demand is growing, so I need to be accordingly match my demand. If I am not able to provide so much of food grains, if I am not able to produce it because of the lack of opportunities, lack of finances with my farmers, don't you think a country, a developing country like India should have this? And the kind of hard work we are doing on the other side also. Even if the TV is there, even if the mobile is there, still the entertainment would remain the same in villages, increasing population. Okay, so वो तो बढ़ता ही रहेगा. Even if you stop the food production, what will happen? People will die. Imagine it's the same story. Water is all over me, but not a single drop to be drink. It's like ocean. Farmers have all the subsidies, farmers have everything, they have all the foods. But in your homes, they have nothing to eat. That is the scenario of India. If that is the issue, we are against what WTO is trying to propagate, that India need to decrease the subsidies. Because WTO is not at all ready to find a solution to our problems, but yes. No wonder people from our world gets world food prize by developing and creating, innovating 480 varieties of wheat, but that same country is suffering from food crisis. That is the bottleneck, and that is the idea which is India facing. Okay, that is one. So this is the main problem with WTO in India. Let's move ahead. BRIC. What is BRIC? ये बात हुई. Actually कहानी पहले it's like a CID serial of Sony. इससे पहले कि CID कातिल को पड़ा हम पकड़ लेते. अब बोलते अगले वाला एपिसोड में दिखाओ मैं पता है कातिल कौन. That is the issue. And you have seen the discussion therefore. ये कातिल का बहन है, मतलब कातिल उसका भाई, मतलब इनके माँ बाप एक, मतलब इनके चाचा भी एक, मतलब दाम में कुछ काला है, इस घर के पीछे एक नाला है. So fine, this is an intermentality. ठीक है? Now, if I am talking about the literal BRICS, Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa. Remember, South Africa was not part of it. It was just the four countries: Brazil, Russia, India, and China. Why these four countries were together? Because there was one very competent person. His name is Jim O'Neill, the economist of Goldman Sachs. He told that these four countries have the full potential to become the superpower or the most developed nations, or the higher in PPP or higher in GDP growth rate, whatever the case may be, whatever he thought was a vision, that this country have all the potential to become a superpower by 2050. That is why he made Brazil, Russia, India, and China. Brazil from South America, Russia from Eurasia, India and China from Asia. Okay. Later on, we found that there is one particular country which got added was South Africa. You have seen Jacob Zuma? Jacob Zuma, you have seen his photograph? A prolific dancer, a very good dancer. See his marriage ceremony. Okay, he's marrying his third, fourth, fifth, sixth, I don't know how many wives. That person is also added. See, I understand Brazil, Russia, India and China have a lot of competency in technology, in space, in nuclear power, in population, in upgradation. Fine, it's there. Why South Africa got added? Because
South Africa has a very wide resource base.
See, let me discuss few of the points. India and South Africa has a lot of things in common. India has been ruled by Britishers and so is South Africa. Mahatma Gandhi played a Ranji game, a domestic pitch game in South Africa, then he played international pitch in Indian market. Okay, पहले छोटा छोटा काम किया Ranji खेला, then he became 3 hits when he came to India, Champaran, Kheda and Satyagraha, and then he became Shah Rukh Khan of India in political world. Fine. Then Nelson Mandela got Bharat Ratna. Nelson Mandela got Bharat Ratna. And we borrowed constitutional amendment from the constitutional amendment process from the South Africa. Down the line, we are having historical and political and cultural and same kind of bondage problem and same kind of linkage between South Africa and India. No wonder India propagated that yes, we should give a chance to South Africa to be the part of BRICS. Okay, this is a beautiful story. All is a lie. Okay? South Africa is chosen as one of my should call you friend. What should I call you? Okay. So South Africa is. I can understand the feeling. So South Africa is getting added because of its resources, fine, but please mention where is South Africa? It is in the southern part of the Africa. Cape of Good Hope? Yes. All the trade which is happening from Brazil to the eastern part and all the trade which is happening from China to the South America actually pass through Cape of Good Hope. If South Africa will be the part of the BRIC, the trade facilitation will be much more easier because we know 80% of the world trade are having through the waterways. And this particular South African country will be the part of it. Now see, I understand BRICS and all, but my main point of view to be discussed here is the recent current affairs news which happened recently in Fortaleza in BRICS when the 6th BRICS summit was happening.